Hey, welcome back to the Accelerated Investor Podcast. In this episode, I am interviewing Noel Walton. Now, what's interesting about Noel is he is not only an active full-time real estate investor in both residential and apartment syndications, but he's also full-time active military. Noel is this is an amazing interview. I can't wait for you to hear it because he is actively managing his investments, fix and flips, portfolio of rentals, and his commercial apartment syndications while being an active duty helicopter pilot. He's a military leader. He's in love with skydiving. We talk about his skydive over Hawaii. You're going to love to hear that story. But what Noel really brings is strong operational management, his decision-making skills that he learned in the military, and how those military skill sets are transitioning him into civilian life. He's actually going to transition into civilian life later on this year and focus full-time on his real estate investments. You're also going to hear a little bit more about when Noel jumped into his very first Blackhawk Helicopter and was flying this amazing military machine, this amazing military killing machine in a Blackhawk helicopter. We'll talk about that experience as well. So you're going to love this interview with the president of Eagles Capital and the founding member of the Joint Chiefs of Real Estate Partners, Noel Walton. Check it out.
Welcome to the Accelerated Investor Podcast with Josh Cantwell. If you're looking to retire early with forever passive income, you're in the right place. This podcast is the go-to destination for real estate investors, both active and passive, and multifamily apartment investors, both new, intermediate, and advanced. Now, sit back, listen, learn, and accelerate your business, your life, and your investing with the Accelerated Investor Podcast.
So Noel, hey, thank you so much for joining us today on Accelerated Investors. Super happy to have you.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet, man. So listen, I love when I meet somebody new to talk about what they're up to like right now. I know you've been very successful buying, owner operating, syndicating, managing apartments, but we're kind of in a new year. Last year was nuts. So I'm always curious to see what people are up to like today that they're really excited about, whether it's a new book or whether it's a new deal or raising money or something like that. So tell us what are you kind of working on like literally this week or next week that you're excited for?
Yeah, right now my team and I are working on closing a 172 unit deal. And
nice.
we are getting down, last week and a half or so. So it's getting close and all. Of course, everything gets hectic at that time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we are also putting the offers, the LOIs out on other multifamily properties. We got an LOI out on a deal in Cleveland right now.
Ooh, and my market. Stealing properties from me.
Well, we'll have to talk about partnering up on something.
That sounds good.
And also, just start keeping that acquisition process going. We've got a goal to hit 500 units this year.
Nice.
And, I think totally doable. And we're working hard at that as well.
Oh, that's fantastic stuff. So tell me a little bit about I know it's about to close. I'll make sure I publish this podcast after it closes because I know that's a sensitive time. So just help me understand the deal structure there. Again, if you don't want to go into too many detail, I get it, but tell me what you're comfortable telling us about it, like how the structure is maybe, or what are some things that you saw in that deal that you liked?
Yeah. So really for us, our strategy is B and C class properties with a value add potential. So that's, somewhere where we can go in, find the property, like for instance, this one being very low on the management side. It's really, there's a lot of upside potential there on the management. So we are going in, changing that out to a national institutional level, one of the top 15 property managers in the country. They're going to go in there. They've got a great plan in place. They ran due diligence alongside us and outstanding people that they know their job very well. And we're very confident working alongside them.
Nice.
that's going to be huge. Just turning units. We've got a good number of units to go through over a year and a half that we plan.
How many do you think you'll do out of the 176 over the next, let's say, 12 to 18 months, 24 months? How many will you guys try to knock out?
Our plan is 72 over about a year and a half. It is highly occupied right now, so it's going to be a slow turn. But we're going to have some certain strategies in place to help turn faster. As we get one unit done. Offer some concessions to get current tenants to move into those and free up to help turn. As people move out and they decide I want to move somewhere else, we'll continue doing those renovations as well. It's a combination of that, raising additional income through various sources. Whether it be the covered parking, eventually that's something we're discussing on. The reserve parking. There's just multiple sources of other income you can put on these properties to raise that net operating income and the value of that property. So it attacks it from several sides. You get the benefit of the cash flow that we obviously provide to our passive investors, but you also get that value add potential. So by quickly raising that value as fast as you can, getting that cash out refi or that refinance type event, whether it be a supplemental loan or a refinance, we can return that extra value in cash to our investors.
Nice.
And, so more money back in their pockets so they can continue to put in the next deal and then double, start scaling that limited partnership.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, those passive investors, limited partners are it's a true partnership, but it's their true asset. A lot of companies are kind of valued off of their regular recurring income. And that's certainly what we have with apartments, but I value my apartments also based on the ability for one investor, let's say with $100,000, who could invest in maybe 3 to 5 deals over the next 10 years. 15 years, who can reinvest. So they are truly an asset that we've got to take care of and make sure that they're happy. They get investor updates, they get quarterly returns or whatever it is.
Absolutely.
Because when one of those guys were to ever leave, it's like dagger to the heart, because what their potential is going forward, and to have somebody leave and go somewhere else is not fun. So awesome stuff, man. So I'm curious, from your strategy with that 176, you have this national management company coming in. Are they also going to be working on turning the units, and how extensive are your unit turns? Are they full hard turns, like you're spending $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 a turn, or is it more of like lipstick? And are you guys going to have a separate team do the CapEx while you have this property management team do more of the management, maintenance, and leasing? Tell me about that structure.
Okay. Yeah. So this company is very in-depth, like very vertically integrated with marketing teams. They've got project managers, you name it. So, they're going to have a dedicated project manager that works with the contractors and those sort of things that they already have relationships with. So they, not only the contracting, but the sourcing of all of the renovation products, flooring, the countertops, you name it. So they've got great relationships for those, as well as ordering at scale, putting that together. They're able to get a great deal on those things, save us money on those. But however, it is not a deep value add. These are actually in really good shape. But a lot of these are, just where we wanted to go through and take classic units, turn them into new premium units, raise those rents up. So it's just going to be flooring, some paint, some basic some appliance changeover, and overall we're looking at $3,500 a unit. Not too bad at all. Go through those for roughly 72 units, like I mentioned, and we'll probably push to do more over time if we can do those within that year and a half or sooner. We're going to aggressively try to pursue that. But we always keep our underwriting very conservative and assume, hey, it's going to take us a lot longer than we think. If we can beat those records, we'll blow those returns out of the water. So that's always the goal.
Fantastic stuff. So, when you look, it's interesting. You said like carpet and paint, right? I think about like residential investing. I love carpet and paint deals, right?
Yeah. I have some background in that too. So.
Yeah. Same here. But carpet and paint deals are great because if you've got a relatively new newer building, even the last 20 years, but you've got decent cabinets, maybe just even swapping out the hardware, but the flooring can make a huge difference. I mean, now doing LVP flooring or luxury vinyl wood or whatever versus the old carpet. So many of the buildings have old carpet, really kind of harden the asset, paint, modernize it, even paint the cabinets from brown to white. Like all of that makes a big difference. I'm baffled that you can, a lot of buildings that we're doing and we're seeing, we're going to charge, it could be $100, in some cases could be upwards of $200 or $300 a unit. When you look at that, because so many buildings, especially with us being in the Midwest and the Southeast, you just have a lot of older housing stock, a lot of older apartment stock, and that hasn't been upgraded. So I love that, kind of medium or light strategy. Yet for you to say it's only 3,500 times 70 units, only a $250,000 capex, that's pretty light for on a 176 unit building. So that's just lipstick, man. Those deals are fun. I like those ones.
Yeah, for sure.
So tell me a little bit more about your structure. Like Noel, how do you like to structure deals with passive investors? Like what's your time frame? What's kind of not like maybe you have a typical offer. Again, guys, disclaimer, we're not soliciting a capital raise here. We're not soliciting securities. We're just talking about structures. So what's your typical structure with limited partners and passive investors?
Yeah, so we always want to align our interests with the investor's interests. So we right off the bat, we always assume, and deal dependent, but in general, we want to put into place a preferred equity. So that those passive investors that come into a deal with us know that whether it be 6, 7, or 8%, which is pretty standard, depending on the deal and what cash flow we think we will start with, we'll kind of gauge it off of that. But, we want to see, we want to provide that preferred return of cash on cash to the investors. That is like the floor that we want to achieve with them. We don't get paid as GP until they get at least that, whether it be, an 8% with a 60-40, 70-30, or 80-20 split of the equity beyond that. And so, just as for someone who might be new, any of the listeners that don't know is, we would assume, hey, a 7% preferred return means passive investor gets 7% on their money, and anything above that is then split according to that equity split. So we have, say, a 70-30 split. 70% goes to the passive investor, 30% goes to the general partners. And that's how we ensure that, incentivizes us as the GP to do everything we can to exceed that preferred return throughout the deal and allows you to get those splits. And those splits will apply at the refinance event as well as the sale of the property as well. So, we sell and we gain say, just take a number, $5 million profit, 70% goes to passive investors, 30% to the GP.
Are you ready to automate and explode your real estate investing? We're searching for extremely motivated individuals who are sick and tired of wasting time and want to finally see real results from their real estate investing business. We're searching for investors looking to get to the next level and become a bigger, better version of themselves while being a more successful real estate investing entrepreneur. Apply for mentoring and coaching at joshcantwellcoaching.com/podcast. That's joshcantwellcoaching.com/podcast. Noel, I'm curious, we are still in the middle of COVID. There are still some supply chain issues, getting materials and things like that. Contractors either seem, in some cases, they don't want to work or they're really busy. So what are just some of the challenges that you've seen in the last 12 months in your business, some things that you've had to overcome? And if you've been able to overcome them, how did you do it?
Yeah, as far as the hands-on portion this past year, I hasn't been as much of an issue there during the COVID period. That was my building my business, building my network early on in the year. That was when I transitioned from single family into multifamily, and a whole different mindset shift. It's a whole other ball game. Now it's not, I'm just going to buy up the neighborhood one by one, and do things myself. Now it's how can I build my team? How can I work with other investors? We're not competing anymore. We're working together, and it's a different mindset. Like you need to be a team. There's so many people involved in a commercial multifamily structure and acquisition. So but some of the things definitely, the challenges that I noticed and have seen from other operators is, obviously there was huge fluctuations in the unknowns with funding, the interest rates, the huge demand on the systems. And actually, we've been seeing that now too. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, they've got backlogs of, these, historically high demands for loans. And, because of these low interest rates, everybody wants to refi or get a new loan. Everybody's out there wanting to buy. But these people are, these processors are getting backed up with so many requests, and that can affect timelines for sure. And that's a big one we've seen. Contractors, I haven't had to deal with those personally in the last year. I've definitely dealt with them with doing flips and things like that. Small town contractors, that's a whole nother story for another day.
Yeah. What I think is important about what, Noel, for our audience that's listening is, single family home flippers and especially the contractors that go with it, it's very much a one-off, onesie twosie type of situation. Tough to keep a contractor busy, and then all of a sudden you're too busy and he doesn't have the time for you. The contractor's showing up on your job, but then he finds a more lucrative job, so he tries to fit that job in while he's doing your job. It's wild. The difference in commercial multifamily apartments is you've got commercial contractors or commercial property managers that they're built for scale. They're built to knock out 100 units in a year. They're built for larger projects. We have a building we're buying now that's actually had a fire on the 4th floor, water damage down through the 3rd floor, 2nd floor, 1st floor, plus 10 smoke damaged. And that contractor's $1 million budget slamming out that whole renovation in under a year. I mean, could you imagine if those were 10, fire damaged houses and having 10 separate contractors with, just the scale? That's one of the reasons why I loved making the pivot into commercial multifamily, and the benefits that we've seen of it over the last several years is exactly that. You're dealing with more professionals, bigger money, people that typically operate in a more professional way, that understand scale, that understand, like you said, it's a team game. I like volleyball. I'm going to coach volleyball tonight after we do this interview. Club volleyball. There's 6 girls on the floor, and all 6 of them have to all be good and play well together. That's a lot like commercial real estate. Property manager, owner, operator, syndicator, limited partner, property manager, leasing agent. Everybody's got to do their part. So Noel, I'm curious to hear, you've made this pivot now over the last 2 years or so, and you've had to build the team. So who did you add to the team, and how were you able to source those people?
Oh yeah. So really networking is where it started for sourcing, and I was just getting started myself and learning how to underwrite, learn how to talk to brokers, all the basics you start with. And I was on, social media, Facebook groups, Zoom networking calls, you name it, just hours and hours of this. And it started to pay off when, I'm stationed out at Fort Hood, Texas, and got a call from, or contacted by another Air Force captain. I'm an Army captain, and he said, "Hey, let's meet up. I'm over here at Fort Hood."
Well, you're an active Army captain right now?
I am. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being active military, man. I did not know that. I read your bio. I didn't realize you're still active. You're doing that on top of these big multifamily deals, man. Kick ass.
Definitely a challenge. Thanks.
Yeah.
So we met up about February timeframe, right before the COVID lockdowns and everything started, and she met for coffee and realized, hey, we have some similar experiences, share the same values, vision, goals. Let's team up, start working on some properties. We did that for a couple months, put a couple LOIs out on some smaller units, and little by little we started got in touch with someone else that I met through my mentorship program with Rod Cleave. And he's actually overseas, but a former Marine. He works for the Foreign Service there. And he's originally from Dallas, Texas, in that area. So he's like, hey, I saw you were in Texas. I like the Texas market. Tell me what you think about these deals. Sent me a couple deals. We did some underwriting on them. Got on some calls and, like, hey, come on, you just come join us. Let's start going through these together, And he had already had some broker contacts. Then slowly we added another one who's just retired out of the Navy after 26 years. And he's up in New York, joined our group. So we that's when we, after a few meetings and running through things, we decided to really buckle down as a team and branded ourselves as the Joint Chiefs of Real Estate. We represent a different branch of the military.
J-Corps, I like it. Joint Chiefs of Real Estate Partners. I love it.
Yeah. So we've been working this hard, and the various mentors and coaches along the way have been awesome to help us develop together as a team. I've brought my strengths as an Army officer, the team leadership, decision making, risk management, all these type of things that I bring from that side, being especially being a Blackhawk helicopter pilot as well, very particular about how things like timelines and planning and I bring all of those skills to the table there. And then my buddy Miles, the Air Force captain, he's computer engineering degree. He just transitioned into Space Force just recently. Okay. So that's a pretty huge move there, pretty historic actually. Yeah. And, so he's our lead underwriter. He brings some awesome skills to the underwriting table. It just keeps us on track as far as that goes. And we all bring great strengths into this team, and I'm helping to use my strengths as far as look at the team as a whole. How do we, who brings what to the table? How do we plug everybody in to the right socket for their strengths? So it's been awesome. We're still growing, still learning, but we all share a common vision, speak the same language, and it's been a great partnership.
In my newest real estate investing book, The Flip System, you'll learn the proven secrets and strategies that I've used to be a successful real estate investor. You'll also hear the story of my journey from quitting my job to doing over 2,000 units of apartments. The Flip System is now available for a limited time, and you can grab your free copy at getflipsystem.com/podcast. You'll learn the same proven principles and secrets and investing strategies that I used to quit my job and pursue a life of financial freedom. In this book, I'm sharing exactly how I was able to personally close over 750 profitable real estate deals, make over 400 private lender loans, raise over $30 million, and acquire over 2,000 units of cash flowing apartments. Get my newest book now for free at getflipsystem.com/podcast. That's getflipsystem.com/podcast. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts, with all of your military experience, Blackhawk helicopter pilot, skydiver, military leader, running with teams. Being a CEO is a little bit different type of skill, because ultimately a lot of your other teammates have a specific, identifiable skill. Like let me use a volleyball analogy. If you're a setter at the net. You set everybody else up to spike. If you're a libero in the back, you play defense. You pass the ball. The other team spikes at you and you dig it out. My daughter plays outside hitter, so her job is to terminate the volleyball and score. And the outside hitter spot is sort of the sexy, gets all the credit. But you got 6 people that all have to play together. And same thing with, as a coach of a volleyball team, your job is to put them in the right position to see them succeed. When you're, a helicopter pilot, when you're a leader in the military, or whether you're a CEO, your job is not necessarily to do anything in the dirt. Your job is really to align everybody else. And it's kind of a weird, you probably experienced, it's kind of weird to like not have a job, but to have your job be the organization and development and coaching of other people. And then you've also got to be kind of good at everything that everybody else does. You don't have to be the expert. But I find for me as a CEO, like raising money and underwriting, because that's where we've got to have passive investors. You got to sell them the deal so they'll invest. Yeah. And you don't want to screw it up. So you got to make sure you underwrite it real good, real conservative. So that's where I spend my time. But just your comments, especially coming from a military application, military background, how is some of the things or situations you've been in the military and being a leader there transition to civilian life and specifically multifamily real estate?
Yeah, let's see. So, there's a lot of skills that obviously the planning processes are huge. As an officer, that's been my bread and butter, is understanding everything that's involved. And there's so much is involved with between the legal side, the financing side, just so many pieces of the puzzle that even people outside our team handle that I need to understand how they work. Mm-hmm. So I know, if we're getting short on time, I know who to call, like where's the process at and who do they need to be talking to next to make the handoff or whatever it is, So, skills like that is just knowing the process, is keeping the process moving, driving that, keeping the team motivated, and these guys are all, with their experience, that I don't have to do too much motivating, but mm-hmm. They motivate me some days. So, it's a good team. It's keeping the communication, how do we implement processes, and systems so that it cuts down on time and makes everything more efficient. That makes the communication flow. Everybody's on the same page. Where especially, there's going to be certain pieces of information that are going to be vital, and everybody's got to know what's going on at certain points. And so that when a question is asked from outside, no matter who gets asked it, they know, okay, yeah, this is what needs to be done here, whatever the answer is to that question. So yeah, that's all things that I try to bring over from my experiences and into the real estate side, and just which I plan to move into civilian life actually this year, and for retirement, and it's going to be great to focus 100% full time on the syndications. Yeah, that's the plan, and continue that, and as well as just have more time to spend with family, travel the country.
Good for you. Your why is to take care of homeless and struggling veterans, as well as assisting kids. And I'm sure you have a lot of affinity for people that have put in time in the military, especially people who's now transitioned to civilian life and struggle. So is there anything in particular, like any type of organization that you want to support within that? Do you have your eye on a certain organization, or do you plan on using some of the profits from your multifamily investments to do that kind of stuff? It's really important to have that, right? To have a why, a reason to get up and get moving and build, because, again, there's always going to be something that kind of chops your knees off, takes away your motivation. You have a tough day and you've got to get back up to think like, okay, I want to keep going till I hit this goal. Seems like almost everybody that gets on my podcast talks about their reasons for investing, or reasons why they do what they do, or their why. So tell me a little bit more about yours.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, my family ultimately is, I guess you'd say the immediate target, so to speak. That they're the ones that are my ultimate why, and be able to provide time freedom and options to spend more time with them and make more memories with them, and not as much as I've enjoyed my time in the military and my service, that they don't allow you a lot of that, and they govern your life. They tell you where to be when, and I've had to done my fair share for sure. But now it's time to have more of that, make those calls for myself and my family. But also, like I said, just, we definitely, as a team, are dedicated to, from each deal that we close, is, bring some of our a portion of our proceeds toward these causes that, that will assist either homeless or, struggling veterans with, preventing suicide and things like that.
Yeah, it's amazing how much people talk about they need and love the military and thank the military for their independence. But it's also amazing how many people that were in the military that served really struggle when they get out of that, because it's just such a different world. Oh, actually, my senior rehab project manager that's currently turning a bunch of units at one of our buildings today served in Fallujah, served in Iraq. And, she showed me some pretty wild pictures of him on patrol there. It literally looks like hell. And for him to transfer here, it's got to be he's done really well. Obviously he's transitioned well, but you can imagine what a wicked ask that is to send somebody into some of those locations and then come back and be like, hey, just get back to life as usual. Like, what? How does somebody do that? Pretty wild. So Noel, as we kind of wrap up here and wind down the podcast, I'm curious, with all of your experience in the military, I do want to ask you a question about skydiving. That'll be my last question. But
all right.
With all of the successes that you're having in multifamily space and building your portfolio, transitioning to civilian life, but all of, like you said, the very structured way that your life has been for the past 21 years, what kind of advice would you pass along to your younger former self or some of our audience that maybe has kind of a structured day life right now, but that's also looking to make the leap into multifamily, or somebody that maybe has left behind a past and some things that they were very comfortable in real estate might feel uncomfortable to them. And maybe they're having some success at it, but they're still having some self-doubt. These are all probably things that have creeped into your head. How do you deal with that? What kind of advice would you give those folks?
Okay. Several parts to that one. So the advice that I'd give, especially to my younger self and I've done a lot of this as I've been in positions where I've helped teach and mentor young lieutenants as they're coming up to, brand new aviation lieutenants out in flight school. And I had almost a year there of that position and being a coach, mentor, and instructor there, which was awesome. I love that job. And to me, it was, not only am I helping mentor them to be an officer, but how to take care of their own financial situation too. A lot of these guys, I know at the age of 22, 23, I had no idea what I was doing with my finances. And
sure.
I wish somebody would have mentored me and taught me that. And I tried to do the same, tell them, okay, you're military. First off, you've got a good steady paycheck as a lieutenant now. Manage it well. Use your VA loan is one thing I would say. Definitely don't buy too high, buy it right. But if you can house hack, by all means, try to find a duplex, triplex, or a fourplex that you can buy with that VA loan and live in one side, rent the others out. You will save tons of money. You will live essentially free, if not profit. That's one thing I tell them, take advantage of at all costs, especially if they're single. Families, it's a little bit tougher, obviously. You live in a smaller space, but, you got a little more freedom to do those type of things or to make those sacrifices as a single lieutenant. But I tell them, start with that, that's the basics of it. Start saving, half your paycheck, living off the other half. It might be a little tight, but it's doable, and just
great advice.
Yeah. And then as your pay grows, you'll get a little bit more, but just keep that 50-50 split for a bit. Invest wisely, start investing wisely. And now I tell them about passive investing and what that opportunity is. And, that's how it's a great option for them, especially being new. Their time is going to be scarce as a platoon leader. They're probably their first deployment. They're not going to be able to hands-on manage a property and, things like that. So investing passively is just the perfect investment for those military that are going to be gone frequently. It's still going to come right back to their paycheck, right to their mailbox, whatever. And they don't have to lift a finger for it. So money works for them no matter if they're sleeping, deployed, whatever. So and those are all things I try to get them, get them thinking about have your money work for you. And, Yeah. So that's the first part of that. You might have to jog my memory on the second part of your question.
Let me jump into the final question, which is, tell me what it's like to climb in to a Blackhawk helicopter for the first time and have that machine under your control.
It's pretty amazing. Yeah, it's quite an experience. In flight school, they start you out with a small little Bell helicopter, and that's pretty awesome. And you get good with that, and then it's like you graduate your first stage, go to your advanced aircraft, and then you meet your instructor, and you walk out to the Blackhawk, and it's like, wow, you're jumping into a roughly 14,000 pound twin turbine engine helicopter. And when that thing fires up, it's pretty wild. And it's a lot of fun. It really is.
Yeah. Wow. And skydiving, I don't want to jump in too much to your, active military life, but has there been a one place that you skydove into, or one exercise, or one place that sticks out?
As far as the skydiving has just been a recreational thing for me, actually. And,
okay.
I went to airborne school while I was in the Army, during my early part of my time in the Army, and got my jump wings, but it was 5 static line jumps. I'm done, and
okay.
I became an aviator, and I was like, well, I'm not going to be doing any more of that.
Yeah, I don't plan on ever jumping out of one of these planes I'm flying.
But I started the recreational skydiving, and that's an amazing experience. I had done a couple of tandems and fell in love with it, got addicted, and by far my favorite place to jump has been Hawaii.
Okay.
Right on the beach, done a jump there from a helicopter onto the beach, which was amazing.
Wow. Fantastic stuff. That is great. Well, Noel, I know you're still continuing to build your network, and a lot of my audience is doing and wanting to do, whether they're active, passive investments, just like you're doing. The website where you can meet Noel and his team is jcoreinvestments.com. So the letter J, core, CORE, investments.com. So when they go to that site, Noel, what are they going to find? What do you want them to do?
Yeah. So when you go to that site, you'll find our passive investing guide. That should pop up first. You can just completely free, just name, email address. Great little guide there, PDF document you can read on the ins and outs of passive investing and how it benefits you. As well as that, we do have a blog we're keeping up on there with some great topics. And nice. There's also free access to a masterclass that we have put together. An interview that has been done with each one of our team members, each roughly an hour long, and each of us covers a different topic, from the underwriting to market research, you name it, syndication structures, and all of that. So some great info there. If you really want to get a better understanding of how syndications work, great free resource. Encourage you to check it out. And you can also get on there, get on a Calendly event, connect with us, set up it on the calendar, and one of us will get on a call with you.
Fantastic stuff. Noel, listen, it's been a blast having you on Accelerated Investor. I appreciate you hopping on.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Thanks so much.
So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Noel Walton. I loved his story about managing his real estate business and his syndications while being a full-time active duty leader in the military and helicopter pilot, as well as his story about, kind of flying the Blackhawk for the very first time and skydiving over Hawaii, and some of his reasons for investing now that he's transitioning to civilian life. So especially for those of you that are active or retired military, I really hope you enjoyed that, as well as just want to say thanks to all of you who are active or retired military, how much we appreciate your service. It's really all of you that gives us the freedom that we have to pursue our dreams and goals. So if you're excited about that interview, jump into iTunes or YouTube or wherever you check this interview out. Leave us a rating, review. Let us know how we did. And again, I just want to say thanks to all of you who've engaged in the podcast, who have shared this on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, and on LinkedIn, Twitter. Thank you so much for all of that. And if you have any comments, questions about who you'd like us to interview or information that you'd like to hear more about, just send us an email to support@srecnow.com. Let us know how we can help you on a go-forward basis through this podcast and through this content as you go along your journey of creating your ideal lifestyle with real estate. We'll see you on the next episode. Take care.
Hey, Josh here, and do you want to win a free Accelerated Investor t-shirt? All you have to do is give Accelerated Investor, our podcast, Accelerated Investor, a rating and a review on iTunes, okay? Do that now. Then send us a screenshot on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. What we're gonna do then is every week we're gonna pick our favorite rating and review, and we're gonna send that person a free t-shirt and maybe, again, some other cool, fun stuff as well from Accelerated Investors. So, again, don't forget to take a screenshot. Leave a rating, review, take a screenshot, send it to us so we know exactly who you are. And then once a week, every week on the podcast, we will announce a new winner. Don't forget to take a screenshot and send it to us so we know exactly who you are. We'll announce a new winner every week.
You were just listening to the Accelerated Investor Podcast with Josh Cantwell. If you enjoyed this episode and learned something new, help us build the AI community by leaving a review and 5-star rating on our iTunes podcast channel. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. To see passive investing opportunities, visit freelandventures.com/passive. To start your journey toward the lifestyle you've always dreamed of with multifamily apartments, apply for one-on-one coaching with Josh at www.joshcantwellcoaching.com.